After multiple relationships ending in failure, she was looking for the right man to spend her life with.
She's trying to find people that will give her the love that she so greatly desires.
Eventually, she met a man that was just as gorgeous as she was.
She thought there's still hope for me, and I'm going to seize this moment.
But a violent encounter turns her fairy tale romance into a horror story.
Her body was found in a ditch.
There are numerous stab wounds.
Whoever did this wanted to make sure that she suffered.
The search for a suspect leads detectives in multiple directions.
She was involved with a lot of different romantic interests.
Did arguments ever get physical?
Yeah, but that happens sometimes.
They couldn't have a civil conversation. It was very volatile.
I'll be telling you, be careful who you're dealing with.
He is an individual that sort of has put himself in a savior position.
But would her savior eventually become her downfall?
There's a thin line between love and hate.
She's cursing at me. You ain't doing this, you know that.
Over time, you start to need that.
It's like having the devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other shoulder.
April 19th, 2015. It's a...
All right. Well, let's get into it, you guys. Welcome to the show. I'm your man, KTJ. And this is our talk, our show for this afternoon on this one. Let me get my face up here. All right, here we go. So I'm glad you guys are here. KTJ, I'm a men's counselor turned men's coach turned love coach. I coach women, I coach men, and I present these events, these shows like this to help us have the conversation about healthy relationships. And so look, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and let's go on this. Look, I just want to let you know I will be stopping the video because this is a reaction video. Okay, so don't get mad because I'm stopping the video. It's a reaction video. So here we go. Let's get into it.
Warm Sunday morning in Delray Beach, a quaint coastal town along Florida's Atlantic shore.
Delray Beach is actually a much different vibe than some of your more common places in South Florida. Delray Beach is a much slower pace.
You see people fishing, you see the boats in the canals. That's kind of what people are about, just the natural beauty, the relaxation, the water.
But around 9 a.m. this morning, a local resident is traveling along a remote stretch of road when he spots something unusual.
He noticed something that looked suspicious in a ditch. And as he got closer, he did realize that it was a young lady.
He sees her laying in the grass, unresponsive, and, you know, he's not sure what's wrong. He contacts 911.
First responders race to the location.
Protocol when someone's unresponsive is to get to the scene as soon as possible because there's a possibility that person still could be alive.
They had no idea if this woman was having a medical issue or what was going on.
When Palm Beach County deputies arrive on the scene, they quickly realize they're too late to help the young woman.
The police get there, and it becomes immediately apparent that obviously she is deceased.
Her body was cold to the touch, so police knew that she had been dead for some time.
At that point, you realize there's no saving this person. Now your job is to preserve the scene.
And as deputies begin to secure the area, they notice something lying near the woman's body.
There was a wallet on the ground next to the body, and inside of that wallet, police found an ID card.
They quickly identified who she was.
Her name was Vanessa Williams.
28-year-old single mother Vanessa Williams had a smile that could light up a room.
She was this beautiful young lady.
She was very social and enjoyed spending time with her friends.
Ambitious and caring to her core, Vanessa had always dreamed of becoming a therapist. But a relationship from her teenage years with a handsome classmate named Nate Tyler had taken her on a different path.
They were high school sweethearts who were very much in love.
Vanessa was so certain that they would go the distance that she even got Nate's name tattooed on her neck. But when she got pregnant, it caused a lot of friction between the two of them.
The stress of teenage parenthood was too much for their relationship to bear, and the couple parted ways soon after the birth of their son.
On her own, as a single parent, she resolved to give her son the best life she could manage. But she kind of had to put her dreams of becoming a therapist on hold.
She was a wonderful mom.
Vanessa managed to finish school while juggling motherhood, but instead of going to college, she jumped into a relationship with a new partner, a man named Stuart Bird.
After graduating from high school, she pretty immediately fell in love with another man from town. They moved in together and he started helping her with her son.
Well, hey there. How was work?
Oh, busy.
Stuart seemed like someone who would take care of her. He had a lot of love for his family, and that was something that Vanessa really appreciated about him.
They talked about getting married and having kids together.
But it was another union that wasn't meant to last.
Their relationship eventually became a little bit toxic.
They split up after 3 years together.
By her mid-20s, Vanessa once again found herself struggling as a single mom.
She went on with her life, trying to pick up the pieces, but she never gave up on love.
She's trying to find different people that will give her the love she so greatly desires. And she's meeting disappointment after disappointment with the types of men that she's involved with.
All right. So let's stop right there, you guys. All right. So we have Vanessa Williams. Now, the one thing I can tell you is that I've never met a woman named Vanessa that wasn't beautiful. Look, if you ever go name your child something, name her Vanessa. If it's a girl, name her Vanessa. I've never seen a woman named Vanessa who wasn't beautiful. That's a beautiful name for a beautiful woman. All right, but she's found in a ditch. All right, 28-year-old Vanessa Williams found in a ditch. Now they're breaking down her relationship history. She gets pregnant. They didn't say it right, but she gets pregnant in high school, right? Somewhere around. They didn't mention her parents. They didn't mention her, parental supervision. But she gets involved with this boy in high school, and they get pregnant. She was pregnant in high school. I just read between the lines on that. And she's doing stuff like getting a tattoo and putting it on her neck. The name of her baby daddy tattoo on the neck. Like they're not really telling this story like it should, right? This girl is not having enough parental activity and oversight to just see what's going on with her. So let's keep going on this story. Let's see where this ends up. We already know where it ends up, but who is it? Who's done it? Now she broke up with this guy, and again, because the relationship turns toxic. This is what happens when you get in too deep too early. Let's keep going.
Finally, in 2011, Vanessa met a man who seemed different from the rest.
Seemed different from the rest.
I think you dropped this.
Oh, thank you.
John Chapman was a handsome military veteran, young, fit, knew how to present himself.
They were two very good-looking young people who immediately were attracted to one another.
I don't mean to be too forward, but do you think I can get your phone number?
Sure. Yeah.
That is forward. This man had no game. Like, for what? Why do you want her phone number? For what? You barely know her. You didn't even say hi. No game.
As they got to know each other over the coming weeks, John and Vanessa realized they were both looking for the same things in life.
John wanted a big family. He wanted kids. They realized maybe we could build this life together.
So I've never really been with somebody who's felt like a life partner. I've always ended up alone.
Those days are over. I promise.
He was Prince Charming for her. So she and John Chapman fell in love. They started dating.
Vanessa felt like she'd finally found a relationship that would last.
Things were going really well for Vanessa this time around.
With John's help at home, she was able to focus a little bit more on herself. She was working as a medical assistant during the day and taking classes at night so that she could work towards her dreams of becoming a therapist.
But now, instead of seeing her dreams come true, Vanessa Williams has been found dead in a secluded area of Palm Beach County.
Police quickly went into trying to find out what had happened to this beautiful young lady.
They weren't sure if this was some sort of accident or if she was out walking when maybe she suffered some type of medical emergency.
When detectives arrive on the scene, they move in for a closer look at Vanessa's body.
When the police turn over the body, there are numerous stab wounds on her face, on her neck, on her back.
Vanessa was stabbed over 23 times. Whoever did this wanted to make sure that she suffered bad.
After a series of failed relationships, 28-year-old Vanessa Williams finally found a man to stand.
All right, let me pause for a minute. So something you may not know about these sort of situations is that if somebody is stabbed, right? If someone is stabbed, with a knife or something, it is immediately seen as this is a relationship situation, right? Because the person has been up close and personal with the person, right? They're in your physical. You got to be like really up on somebody to stab them, and what could cause somebody to stab somebody 23 times, right? That's a crime of passion. As soon as the cops roll up there and they see that, they immediately know this is a crime of passion. And there's a lover somewhere who is responsible for this. This wasn't a stranger who didn't know you. This was a familiar person.
And by her side.
You have John as this military man, and he looks refined, and he's showing himself in a way that, hey, I'm strong and I can protect you. And this is the kind of strength that she's looking for.
The happy couple was looking forward to a bright future together. But now, Vanessa has been found dead on the side of a remote road in Palm Beach County.
It's the beginning of the investigation. They don't have all the information, but from what they've seen so far, this appears to be gruesome, violent.
They were able to determine that Vanessa had been stabbed 23 times.
23 times.
The question now is, why?
They find money. They find jewelry. Her chain is still on her.
The fact those property pieces that were still there with her indicated not a robbery.
They believe that this is a personal attack. This was someone who had malice and anger, and they took it out on Vanessa Williams.
However, due to a lack of blood pooling, investigators suspect that the violent stabbing didn't happen here.
Law enforcement concludes that she must have been killed somewhere else and brought to this location.
It almost looked like there was an intent to try and hide her location, maybe a hasteful attempt at best.
There are other things there that indicate that they left in a hurry. They see an indentation from where a tire was. They find a flip-flop.
It looked like when Vanessa's body was dragged out of whatever vehicle it was in, all this other debris got dragged out with her.
One item in particular stands out to the investigators.
They find a floor mat from a vehicle that's soaked in blood, and they really want to know whose blood is this? Does this belong to the victim?
It's also potential evidence for DNA from the assailant. Most stabbings or cuttings, the person who is the attacker will typically injure themselves.
Detectives spot another crucial piece of evidence left behind by Vanessa's killer.
The knife itself.
They find a wooden handled knife that looks like it could be the murder weapon.
After the evidence is bagged and sent out for testing, Vanessa's body is transported to the medical examiner's office for an autopsy.
Judging by the degree of lividity in Vanessa's body, the medical examiner believes that she had been dead for about 24 hours.
Lividity is the accumulation of the blood in the lower extremities of the body.
A blood test reveals another surprising new piece of information, that at the time of her death, Vanessa had a street drug known as Flocka in her system.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Flocka came in, I believe, around 2015, 2014 in the Florida area here. There was a lot of reports of crazy behavior, zombie-like behavior, aggressiveness, extreme strength.
Flocka took bath salts and it was manipulated, and it gave you a much more intense high and hallucinations, and anybody could pretty much get their hands on it.
Immediately, law enforcement are thinking that maybe this was some drug deal gone wrong. Maybe this was a drug user who had crossed someone.
Armed with this new information, detectives begin trying to learn more about who their victim was.
One of the things that they observed that the medical examiner told them about was that there is a tattoo on the back of Vanessa's neck, and the name of that tattoo was Nate.
Baby daddy.
Vanessa's
Baby daddy.
social media appears to confirm that she had a man in her life around the time she died. But his name isn't Nate. It's John Chapman.
One of the first places police look is to the boyfriend. He is a former military guy, someone that police can identify with.
When police spoke with John, he was devastated to find out what had happened to his girlfriend. He said that she was a wonderful mom, a great person.
John strikes the detectives as sad, but not especially surprised.
I was afraid something like this might happen.
He said she had some habits that she had fallen into involving drugs and alcohol.
John tells the police that Vanessa's drug use had been getting worse lately. A lot worse.
It started out, I just had a long day at work and I just need a little something to take the edge off. But over time, you start to need the high.
Vanessa had her struggles. And with her having children, with her having the responsibility of being a mother, of being a partner, trying to co-parent, there are certain things that contributed to her drug use.
Vanessa, seriously? This is getting way out of hand.
John Chapman told them that Vanessa had been out of control, and in one of those drug and alcohol fueled incidents, she left.
How about you stop telling me how to live my life?
He said she had taken off without telling him where she was going.
He tried to call her to figure out where she was, couldn't get in contact with her.
I thought that I was going to be able to see her again, but...
Do you know anyone that might want to hurt her? Drug dealer, ex-boyfriend?
I know she had issues with her ex.
John actually shared with police that Vanessa's relationship with Stewart was extremely toxic. They couldn't have a civil conversation. It was very volatile.
They had some mutual friends and would run into each other from time to time. And Stewart would always try to weasel his way back in.
She couldn't fully get away from this guy.
And according to John Chapman, Stewart Bird had a history of domestic violence against Vanessa Williams. He had attacked.
All right, so hold on. So look, this is what we get in here, right? First, we got this sweet, innocent young woman who looks like she couldn't hurt a fly, and then you find out she's been getting high. She's getting high on some new drug. They don't even know where it comes from. And now it's getting worse. And she's tied up with her old boyfriend. Fellas, there's way too many red flags here. Fellas, if you see a woman, look, guys get caught up in this because they have that captain save them a row syndrome. Like, you want to save her, you want to be her knight in shining armor, and he came in and he was able to help her fulfill her dreams. Man, listen, some of these women, you better cut loose. You ain't here to be nobody's captain, because it's going to turn out bad for you. It's going to turn out bad for you. Like this guy who's still involved with the woman. Look, hold on, man. Why is this guy even involved with this woman? I thought she had a new guy. A new guy knows about this guy. Man, this girl's tricky, yo. This girl here is tricky.
During the past, and of course,
she looked innocent.
John felt like he would do it again.
I didn't trust her.
Aha.
And I know she didn't either.
He told the police that that's the place where they should start looking.
John was adamant that Stuart Bird had something to do with this.
Vanessa Williams' boyfriend, John Chapman, has just told Palm Beach County Police that she was battling drug addiction in the months before she was murdered.
Looks so innocent, too.
Vanessa was a mom, a student, a healthcare worker, and unfortunately, she had turned to substances to deal with all of the stressors in her life.
Before you know it, we're self-medicating. And so where someone may say, that could never be me, before you know it, it is you.
Yep.
According to John, Vanessa had been behaving increasingly erratically in the weeks before she was killed. And shortly before her body was discovered, she complained about running into her ex, Stuart Bird.
After getting this information, police immediately went into the background of Stuart, and they discovered that he had an extensive record.
Wait, how do you run into your ex? Running into your ex. Yeah, you ran into him because you called him.
He had burglary, domestic strangulation, grand theft, and child abuse.
At that moment, Stuart Bird became suspect number one.
But when detectives bring Stuart in for questioning, he seems shocked.
Stuart denied having any responsibility for killing Vanessa.
What? No. Listen, y'all have the wrong guy.
However, he does acknowledge there were moments in their 3-year relationship he's not proud of.
He admitted that things got pretty heated between them.
Did arguments ever get physical between the two of you?
Yeah. But that happens sometimes.
No, it doesn't.
With that relationship, there was domestic violence.
It shows his ability, his possibility of creating a violent scenario with Vanessa.
They want to know, where were you on the night of April the 18th?
According to Stuart, he has an alibi for the night Vanessa was killed.
Stuart Bird tells them, well, I was working all night. He gives them the name of his employer.
You can call my supervisor right now. He'll tell you.
Police were able to contact his employer, who confirmed that Stuart was definitely at work on the night that Vanessa was murdered. So now they're back to square one.
Back to square one.
Eager to drum up new leads, police shift their focus to the people who knew Vanessa best.
Vanessa's parents lived about an hour away in Miami. And while they were still grieving the loss of their daughter, they were ready to talk to detectives.
All right, we got some.
Vanessa's parents were devastated. It is extremely heartbreaking as a parent to know that your child was killed.
Vanessa's parents tell detectives that their daughter had a long history of troubled relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell it, men wants only your money and something else. Right. And I be telling, be careful who you're dealing with.
So in cases like this, either you have a lot of suspects or you have nobody. And this case had a lot of suspects. She was involved with a lot of different romantic interests.
Vanessa's parents also confirm what John Chapman said in his interview about Vanessa's rampant drug use.
She went used to drugs.
You know what kind of drugs? Cocaine?
I don't know. That I don't know.
She was dealing with a lot. It's like having the devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other shoulder. I have my responsibilities, but I don't know how to cope.
Vanessa's parents say the last time they saw their daughter was about a week ago when she stopped by for a surprise visit.
What time was that?
Around 5 something. 5:30.
What kind of car did she have?
She didn't have a car. She said it's a friend car. She was driving a truck.
What kind of truck?
White, I think white, I don't know if it's a Ford.
The truck was alleged to have belonged to Corey Summers, a friend of hers.
Corey Summers.
But other than Corey's name, Vanessa's parents know nothing about him.
I met it once.
After Vanessa left in Corey's truck, her parents never heard from her again.
I started fixing her, but I never had no response from her.
Did you call her after that? Did you ever, after that point, talk to her again?
Never.
Based on this information, investigators want to speak with Corey Summers as soon as possible.
The question now was,
Where's
did
Corey?
Corey have a reason to want Vanessa dead?
After speaking with her parents, Florida detectives have learned that Vanessa Williams was last seen driving her friend Corey Summers' truck around the time she was killed.
All right, now somebody needs to ask, why is she driving Corey's truck? This is that thing that we talk about for guys trying to friend their way into a woman's life, right? This guy probably really wanted her, but she didn't want him, but she would take the benefits. Fellas, listen to me. Listen to me. There are women who will take the benefits of you, but they don't want you. They just want the benefits of you. She wants his masculine coverage. She wants to be able to drive his car, probably for him to pay for meals. And this is what he ends up getting. And maybe this guy snapped. Maybe he was just too much for him. Let's keep going. Sheesh.
Did you ever, after that point, talk to her again?
Never.
When detectives reach out to Corey Summers, they're surprised to hear he's been waiting for a call from law enforcement.
Waiting for a call.
Corey thought the police were calling about his truck, the one that he had allegedly let Vanessa borrow.
Corey explains that he's a long-haul trucker who'd been out on the road until a few days earlier.
When he came back from one of his long-haul trips on April 17th, his truck was missing. There was a police report made.
When detectives explain they're calling under graver circumstances, Corey seems grief-stricken.
Here's the deal. We're working a homicide investigation. Vanessa's dead. I don't believe it.
He agrees to come into the police station to give an official statement.
Corey confirmed that he and Vanessa were friends.
Yeah,
and he said
friends.
He allowed her to stay at his place after she and her boyfriend, John, got into a huge argument about her drug use.
She asked me to stay. I told her okay because I don't ever hardly ever be home.
He says that Vanessa has stayed with me from time to time. I've allowed her to crash here when she's needed to. I'll see her, and then I'll go out on the road for several days, and then I'll come back.
Corey insists.
Hold on. Y'all do what see her means, don't you? Y'all do know what see her means. This is how these things get off the tracks. y'all do know what see her means. He said I would see her and then I would be going off on the road. And I wasn't around, so she could just stay in my place. And she probably was there when he got back. So she's involved with this guy too. Man, this girl's tricky, man. She looks innocent, but she's tricky. Man was seeing her. What kind of way you seeing her?
The relationship between them was entirely platonic.
Okay, right.
One of the things I gotta ask you: were you intimate at all, you and her?
No,
never.
He's lying.
Okay.
Corey, he is an individual that sort of has put himself in a savior position. He tries to help people. He's trying to help Vanessa, trying to give her a place to stay.
They had an arrangement where Corey would allow Vanessa to use his pickup truck while he was out on the road.
She doesn't have the transportation to get him back and forth from work.
Okay.
So I told her to use my truck. Just be careful with it.
But the last time he got home, Corey says Vanessa and his truck were gone.
Vanessa was missing, and his apartment was in shambles, as if there had been a struggle or fight going on in there.
Yeah.
I know she had company, but I don't know who she had there.
Yeah, of course. Because her boyfriend found her at another man's house. Come on now. Come on, guys. Let's put this relationship, let's put this together.
Didn't know what happened. He tried to.
There's a lot of meat on this bone.
In speaking with Corey, he seemed to be very forthcoming, very cooperative, very willing to help the police, but they are not sure if they are able to trust him.
Again, I got to ask you this because if it comes out later on, I want to make sure we're clear. Did you guys have any intimate relationship between you two?
Oh, a long time ago.
When was that?
Look, I told you. Look, these things, this stuff doesn't just happen by accident. This doesn't happen by accident, y'all. If a man is this guy is giving her the truck, allowing her to hang out at his place. You're not going to tell me what else would a man do this for if he wasn't either involved with this woman at some point in time, physically, getting sex and having his way, and then she can do whatever she wants. When he gets off that road, he comes back, boom, he going to hit again. And the boyfriend has no idea any of this is happening. But I bet you the boyfriend caught her at this man's house. I guarantee you. Now it was months ago.
But before you told me that you didn't.
Exactly.
We're not really sure if there's a relationship there. Maybe not. So you have to look at that. Was he jealous?
But Corey insists he wasn't even in the same state at the time when police believe Vanessa was killed.
I was in Georgia.
You were in Jersey?
Georgia.
At the end of the interview, Corey agrees to turn his cell phone over to police.
We need your phone just to make sure everything checks out.
Sure, okay.
And while it's sent out for analysis, detectives track down the last name on their list. The father of Vanessa's oldest son, Nate Tyler.
Although he and Vanessa broke up years ago, they were still on good terms for the sake of their son.
Hey, and what does good terms mean?
They were extremely
and what is,
close.
Hold on. And what does good terms mean? Good terms means he was still hidden.
Although they were only platonic.
Come on.
And according to
I don't
Nate,
believe no platonic about this girl. Nobody's being
the
platonic.
last time he saw Vanessa, she'd confided in him that she was struggling.
She had been telling me things weren't going well with John, her boyfriend. And she'd been staying with some other guy, Corey, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, we've already talked to Corey.
Nate tells the investigators that on another occasion, he'd witnessed the tension between Vanessa and John firsthand.
There was an incident that Nate shared with police where they were all hanging out and something transpired that really ticked John off to the extent that he started throwing furniture, became vulgar,
Come on,
got very
John.
violent.
It was shocking, you know? It happened out of nowhere.
Did Vanessa say these type of outbursts happen often?
Yeah. Yeah, she did.
She told him that John was abusive, that John would fly off the handle for different reasons.
She confided in Nate about all of the threatenings, the stalkings, the verbal abuse, the beatings that she was getting.
Beatings?
Based on what they're hearing from Nate, detectives have to wonder, has John been misleading them all along?
At this point, getting out there, finding John, and getting face-to-face with John is very important.
But when detectives try to bring John Chapman in for another round of questioning, they quickly hit a roadblock.
They'd say, we got to pick this guy up and talk to him again. There's only one problem.
In the spring of 2015, Palm Beach County investigators have had no shortage of suspects in the murder of 28-year-old Vanessa Williams. So far, they've spoken with her ex, Stu.
Yeah, John's gone. They're not going to find John. He done took off.
Bird, close friend, Corey Summers, and even her high school sweetheart, Nate Tyler. But unfortunately, all three men seem to have airtight alibis.
Thanks to phone records, police were able to confirm that their three prior suspects had not been in the area at the time Vanessa was murdered.
Stewart was confirmed to be at work, and Corey in Georgia. And Nate was out of town visiting some friends.
However, in speaking with Nate Tyler, investigators have unearthed a new suspect, a man they're already familiar with, Vanessa's most recent boyfriend, John Chapman.
According to Nate, Vanessa had confided in him about her very tumultuous relationship with John.
John had been abusing her, both.
But why does she keep ending up in these situations with quote unquote bad men? Is she really that innocent?
Physically and verbally.
She was trying to get away from John. She was trying to cut ties with him.
He conducted himself in a way that was reckless, dangerous, and possibly deadly.
Detectives want to speak with John Chapman again as soon as possible, but they'll have to find him first.
You got to find John. John,
he's gone. He's on the run.
He wasn't at.
John has skipped town. They can't find him. I knew this was coming.
At home or at work, he wasn't answering his phone.
Detectives think John may be traveling in Corey Summers' missing pickup truck. And before long, they receive a promising tip about the stolen vehicle's location.
There was actually an APB put out on Corey's truck, and they found it in front of the home of a Lana Palmer.
Lana Palmer is alleged to have been romantically involved with John Chapman. They had an on-again, off-again relationship between the two of them.
Man.
By the time police respond, the truck is gone.
They go in there, no John Chapman, but they do find Lana Palmer.
Can I help you? When they questioned Lana about the truck in front of her home, she admitted that John had come by.
The last time that she saw John Chapman on April the 18th, he came there driving a white truck, clothes covered in blood.
John? Oh my God, what did you do?
He was very bloody. He looked like he had been through just too much. And showing up to her home, asking for refuge, if you will.
She asked him, what happened, John?
He said he'd been fighting with someone. I could tell he was lying, though.
Baby, I had to defend myself.
He told her that he had gotten into a fight with one of Vanessa's ex-boyfriends. She didn't believe the story, but since he was acting so weird, she just allowed him to come inside, take a shower, and clean up.
Okay, just go rinse all that off, please.
But after John washed up, Lana witnessed more strange behavior from him.
She saw him take a SIM card out of a phone and rip it in half.
She realized that there was something awry here, and the story that he was given just didn't line up.
I don't know what you're up to, but I want you out. Told him to get out, and he did.
Do you have any idea where he may have went?
No, not a clue.
Where's his
She
clothes?
said he took his things and he left.
Lana insists she hasn't seen or heard from John since that night. And with no other leads on their suspect's location, investigators are back at square one.
They start to intensify their efforts to find him because the clock is ticking.
As an investigator, you need to get to John as soon as possible.
Police reached out to law enforcement agencies in the surrounding areas to be on the lookout for John. They also enlisted the aid of the U.S. Marshals to help look for him.
Oh, they're going to get him.
Soon, their efforts pay off.
It's just a matter of time.
Eventually, they got a tip that the truck had been seen in Miami.
The tip led them to an apartment complex where they found the truck parked outside.
And inside the truck, police make an alarming discovery.
There's blood everywhere.
Based on the amount of blood, police believe that this may be where Vanessa was killed.
They found a green purse that they thought must have belonged to Vanessa, as well as a flip-flop that matched the one found at the body's dump site.
Oh, yeah, he's toast.
Now more than ever, investigators know they need to track down John Chapman.
Investigators go door to door looking for John Chapman.
John's
they
in
don't
trouble.
find him anywhere.
John's in trouble.
But what they do discover is near to that apartment complex is a homeless shelter.
Inside the homeless shelter, police finally locate John.
As he's getting dressed, they take him into custody. The police have their man.
Back in Palm Beach, detectives are eager to sit down with their number one suspect.
They immediately started peppering him with questions about what had happened to Vanessa, and to their surprise, he didn't hold back.
Vanessa was she wasn't herself at all. I had to kill her.
John finally confessed to the murder.
Kill her.
But that's not all he says.
He tells them that it was in self-defense. He said she attacked him with a knife.
I believe that she was possessed by some demon.
Have finally arrested John Chapman for the murder of his 28-year-old girlfriend.
All right. John says he had to do it because she had a demon. For you guys that are just watching this, welcome to the show. I'm KTJ. I'm doing a reaction to this show. And it's about to wind up here. They got the guy and she wasn't herself. So he had to kill her is what he just said. So we'll see what that means.
Okay. But I believe that she was possessed by something.
Possessed by a demon.
John tells the investigators it all started when he went to see Vanessa at Corey Summers' house on the night of April 18th.
I knew it.
Let's start with what led to this.
I knew it.
Drugs.
He showed up at Corey's place to discuss their relationship and found her out of her mind on drugs.
When I got there, I realized that there was a lot of meth in the carpet.
Vanessa, what the hell are you doing?
He found Vanessa Williams searching the carpet for Flocka flakes.
He said now that he realized how deep in addiction she is, he realizes that he no longer wants to be with Vanessa.
So you turn around. Hold on. So you turn around and you leave, John. You turn around and you go.
He says it disgusted him that Vanessa Williams' drug use was so out of control
John tells detectives he was ready to leave soon after arriving, but he was stranded.
He'd gotten dropped off at Corey's house, so he needed a ride back home.
I just wanted that ride back to Cape and I'm like, hey, let's have fun. Let's go ahead and let's head back to Cape Coral. Let's party.
When you say that, with drugs, everything.
Yes, I knew he was involved.
John, with his narcissistic personality, realized that Vanessa was battling an addiction, and he was using that to control her.
On the drive to Cape Coral, the couple stopped to get some fast food. But as the sun set and they finished their meal, they got into a tense argument in the restaurant parking lot.
John was upset with Vanessa about her drug use, and Vanessa was upset with John in regards to the way he had been treating her in the relationship.
She's cursing at me, telling me, you don't have this, you don't have that.
Eventually, John says he had enough.
I really just wanted her to feel what I felt. I don't know how else to say it. I just really, I pulled her hair, and it was just gonna be like a tussle. Right. But what I didn't notice that she had in the truck was a little small knife.
He said she tried to attack him.
He had to wrestle the knife away from her.
When she went for that, I hit her right on top of the head. And I was like, don't you dare do that. And then, honestly, I snapped.
He became completely overwhelmed with rage.
Crazy.
It was quick and it was angry.
You know how many times you snapped? More than once.
Crazy.
The problem with that story is as soon as he got the knife away from her, there was no threat anymore.
Right.
You don't go back and plunge it 20 other more times in her chest after you take control of the knife.
Right.
And instead of getting help, he dumped her body on the side of a remote road where he thought that no one would be able to tie the crime back to him.
Come on, John. Come on, John.
John blames his military experience for the extreme violence of his attack.
John is claiming he went into defense mode as though he was still in the military.
My trainer kicks in. Okay. All the emotions locked into robotic.
No, John.
My army training kicked in. It's not an excuse to kill.
No, John. You can't.
Someone. Besides that, John admitted he started the physical altercation. So in reality, Vanessa was the one defending herself when she grabbed that knife.
John Chapman, at the end of their investigation, was booked and charged for murder.
At trial in January of 2018, the jury agrees with investigators.
Crazy.
John's murder of Vanessa can't be chalked up to self-defense.
No, sir.
In the end, his self-defense was not bought by the jury. They found him guilty of second-degree murder, and the judge sentenced him to 48 years in prison.
40.
John was very lucky that he was not sentenced to death.
He is.
And that he wound up being convicted with second-degree murder. That was because in the state of Florida, if it's a crime of passion, you can get second-degree murder.
Vanessa Williams will never get the chance to see what her future might have been.
Crazy.
All because of the rage of John Chapman.
Vanessa was trying to turn her life around and have a better future for herself and her children.
Vanessa may not have been the perfect person, but she was really doing her best and trying to get back to a good place.
John Chapman was deceiving to me.
No. All right, yeah. So let's talk about this real quick. Let's have this conversation real quick. And if this is your first time coming here, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Fellas, let me start with the guys. Fellas, when you recognize that a woman has problems, understand that especially if you got problems yourself, So this was a really good, interesting story here. John Chapman threw his life away. He got emotional at the wrong time with this woman who he knew was trouble. Fellas, if you get with a woman that you know is trouble, you're gonna have more trouble, right? And why are you so emotional? There's nothing she should be able to say that should get you off your square. Okay. And if there's some ladies that are watching, you got to see these signs in a man who might be getting emotional and, oh no, we get into a fight. Fighting is normal. Fighting is not normal. It's a sign that you need to go your separate ways. All right. Look, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Go ahead and hit that likes button, hit the subscribe button. We got more to come. See you next time. Peace.